Welcome to the Notes on Becoming podcast, where we have honest conversations about growth, change, and the process of becoming our best selves. I'm Riley Rehl, and today we're talking all about lessons I've learned about love, and boy, do I have a long list of them. And honestly, I've been dying to have this conversation with you guys, just all about lessons I've learned about love, and I'm really excited to talk about it. I am also a little bit nervous, I'm not gonna lie to you, because I'm speaking about my experiences, but these experiences do involve other people, and it's just kind of, I don't know, it's just kind of tricky. So I'm gonna do my best to navigate that and just try to keep this focused on me and the lessons I learned versus like getting into any specifics about details of like my past relationships and things like that, just because I want to respect people's privacy. I want to respect other people and their privacy. I guess exactly what I just said. So that's the goal while we go about talking about this. I think I'm just going to dive in and go number by number because I've got a list of 20 lessons and they can kind of be broken up into different categories, but I think I might just talk about them and see how it flows. So the first one is that love's a risk. And there's this quote that I absolutely love. Actually, someone shared it in church like years ago, and it's kind of an interesting quote. I'm not sure how they tied it into like a gospel context, but the quote is, "To love someone is to say I am ready to be utterly devastated by you." And ever since that quote was shared, I think about that and the process of opening yourself up to falling in love with somebody as you saying, I am ready to be utterly devastated by this person. And that goes for any kind of love, right? Not just romantic love, but just love in general. You're opening yourself up to that pain, to the risk of that pain, but you're also opening yourself up to the beauty and the joy that comes with love and the experience of love. And I think it's a really good practice to look internally and recognize when you're ready to take that risk. Because at this point in my life, I don't know if I'm ready. I feel like I'm getting to a place where I'm ready. I'm getting ready to start dating again, but I'm not necessarily feeling like I want to be utterly devastated. Not that anybody wants to be utterly devastated by someone else, but there's a risk involved, and that's just something that I learned. Something that I learned through experience. And yeah, I just love that quote. Okay, next one is love is a sacrifice that's worth it. And this is something that kind of goes hand in hand. Like, love's a risk, and it's a sacrifice, but it's also something that is worth the sacrifice. And I this specific lesson I think about in the context of spending most of my life single and where I could put my time and the things that I could focus on and all the not free time necessarily, but all this time I had to put into my own pursuits, right? And when I got into a relationship, I had to learn to prioritize my significant other and prioritize my boyfriend at the time. And that was something that took a little bit, like, I loved spending time with him, right? I loved being in a relationship and having that person to go to. But there's this part of me that was like, this is a sacrifice. I, for so much of my life, have been fine on my own. And you are a kind of person that I am willing to give up the time that I would usually put towards myself in a way, or like I'm fine on my own, right? But instead I'm going to choose to spend it with you. And that's an exchange that is worth it. It's an exchange that's worth it with the right person. Yeah, just everything that comes with love. It's so much sacrifice, and it's so much that will change you if you haven't experienced it, or if you have, like, it changes you. This experience, the sacrifice of loving someone else and prioritizing them in your life, it changes the way that you show up, and that's a sacrifice that's worth it. Being in love makes the world more vibrant. This is one that It was so funny. The first time I fell in love was about a year ago. Actually, low key, when I'm recording this, like almost exactly a year ago. And I just remember thinking, like, I would drive to work and I'm like, how do people do this? How are people in love and not just spending every single moment of the day with the person that they love? Like, that's how much I was like so excited to be around this person and everything. Like, I was so joyful and happy, and the colors of the world seemed brighter, and just there was this joy there that I had never experienced before. I love books, right? I love reading and stories, and romance books are like, I love a good romance book, right? And so to be able to finally understand a lot of those emotions that are always written about is something that I could never fully grasp until I experienced it. And it's so true. It's so true that the world becomes more vibrant, or at least it should. If it doesn't, then maybe something's wrong with that relationship. But it definitely did for me. And that's a piece of being in love that is so pure and beautiful. And I don't necessarily think that lasts forever, but I think the process of falling and like taking that leap of falling in love with someone creates that emotion and that feeling. And however short a period of time that's for, I think it's a cherished time for people when they look back at their relationship at the beginning, and just to experience that's like a human emotion and feeling that is incredible. It's amazing. So I titled the first section The Leap. So all of those were kind of about like the falling in love. And then this section I titled To the Delusional, which guilty. Okay. I've been a delusional girl in the past. Let me tell you, like I have plenty of stories and examples of the times that I was so delusional. And I just apologize to all of my friends who had to put up with me in the years of my life when I was very delusional, and just the amount of times I talked about somebody that it was never going to work out with. I feel like we all have, maybe we don't all go through that, but we're all associated with somebody at some point in our lives who has an experience like this. So I try and pass it forward anytime and just be a better example and learn from my mistakes. And so that's what I hope that you also will be able to learn from my mistakes as I share them. So number 5 is being delusional is just a way to keep hurting yourself. Stop it. Stop being delusional. And I'm telling you that because I love you and I want you to be able to move forward with your life. And coming from somebody who spent, was it 3 years? Yeah, like 3 years of my life being delusional about someone, I think it played a role in my development in a way. So in that way, like I can understand why I needed those experiences. But it's seriously just being delusional about somebody having feelings for you when they've given you no indicator basically that they have any interest is just, you're just hurting yourself. Like, move forward and go find the person who really loves you and or will love you and appreciate you. Like, stop hurting yourself. And that person that you are being delusional about is, or that situation or whatever, is not your match. It's not your match if it's not happening. And so move forward. It's hard, but you gotta do it. Playing into that is number 6. Don't waste your time wishing or waiting for someone who doesn't want you back. Seriously, years of my life, you guys, wishing or waiting for someone who didn't want me. He didn't want me, you know? And that sucks because it's like everybody wants to be wanted. Everybody wants to feel or know that their feelings are going to be reciprocated. And it was really difficult for me to like accept the fact that this person I had built up in my mind for so long, because I didn't really even know this person very well, but he left a really, really strong impression on me. And so I created this whole like plan and idea about how life was going to go based off of literally 2 weeks of my life. And I I just spent so much time wishing and waiting and hoping and longing for this thing to be that was never supposed to. I didn't take the hint. And again, that was just a way to hurt myself, because this person wasn't intentionally hurting me. Like, he wasn't trying to make me feel these things. He wasn't giving me anything, really. He really wasn't giving me anything that should make me feel the way that I was feeling. Made no promises, made like none of this. And yet I held on, because I think I really held on because there wasn't anything better. Like, I was open to the idea of meeting somebody who would surprise me and be a better match for me than this person. But I hadn't experienced that at the time. And so I just held on to this idea and this belief that it would work out, when in reality it wasn't. And he wasn't telling me and saying those things. And so I just shouldn't have wasted my time believing that it was going to happen when it never was. And I'm glad it didn't, because it wasn't supposed to. Because what is supposed to happen will happen. What is supposed to work out will work out. And if it's not, then it's not for you. It's not right. And to just trust that that's the way that it is, and that when it's right, you're not going to feel confused. You're not going to feel like all of these pent up emotions about like worry. I feel like that was my biggest thing, is just like worrying and just putting all my time and energy, or just like all this emotion, into something that wasn't even real. Falling in love with the idea of someone is not the same as falling in love with them. And this example, all this delusion, right, is like with this one particular person. And like I already mentioned, I knew him for like 2 weeks, low-key. Like, I knew him for 2 weeks in person, talking. And those 2 weeks were super fun and made a lot of great memories and things. But I didn't know him. And then I proceeded to spend 3 years of my life like wishing I was with him, when in reality, I don't know if I had gotten to know him better, if it would have even worked out. Like, and so this idea of this person, and again, it ties into this like longing for somebody that you, or the type of man that you want to be with, right? And if you experience that, it's so easy to just like hold on to that, because it's like, I don't know that there's anything else better. I've never experienced anything better than this. And it can so easily turn into this, like, you're just in love with the idea of, and the qualities and like what you picture with this person, even if you don't know them very well. And in reality, that's not actually who they are. That's just who you built them up to be in your brain. Like, that's what I was doing. And it took this person basically like not telling me straight out he wasn't interested in me, but like not pursuing me when I like put myself out there for him to like let me know if there was any interest. And he just like took zero action. And I was like, okay, he doesn't want me, and that hurts, and that sucks, and everything. Like, all of these ideas that I had were not gonna ever come to pass. And that's okay, because it wasn't even with a real person. It was just this made up thing in my head. And it sucks, but I learned so much from that. So much so that in my relationship that I had years later, in my last relationship, I felt like I was so present. Like, I did my absolute best to like almost not think about the future, but to like be in love with the person in front of me, versus it being like, oh, this idealistic version of that person. It was like, no, like, I love you. Like, this is what I know about you. I'm spending this time with you. I'm seeing your weaknesses and your strengths, and like, I love you. and I see you, you know? And that's so different from this experience of being like, oh, so and so, like, he's so incredible, he's this, that, and the other, like, describing this person that low-key I didn't even know. Like, I was like making stuff up in a lot of ways. It's like, well, yeah, I think this about, like, I know this and this about him, and so obviously he's gonna have these other qualities that, like, are really important to me too, when in reality it's like, I literally had no idea, and I never got the chance to find that out, and that's okay because it wasn't supposed to happen. But it really taught me, it taught me to be present. And so let go of the idea of people and fall in love with actual human beings that are in front of you, and not just the idea you have of people in your mind. Don't let others try and convince you possess feelings you don't. I feel like friends are often guilty of this, especially if it benefits the group. I don't know if anybody else has had experiences like this, but I'm sure there's someone out there who can relate, where it's like, everybody wants a relationship with you and this other person who's awesome to work out, but there's just not that pull for you. There's not that attraction. There's not that vibe that you need in order to pursue like an actual relationship with someone. And it's really hard when everybody around you is trying to convince you that you have the capacity to feel those feelings if you just give it a chance, if you give it more time, if you give it X, Y, or Z, if you kiss, if you whatever, like, then you'll feel something. Then it'll work out, and then this will be awesome because we can go on dates together, you know? And it's not that easy. It's not that simple. I was going to say it's not that simple, but it is simple in the fact that you don't feel what you need to feel. And so don't let people try and convince you otherwise. And it's hard to be honest about that, especially when you do like look up to the person that people are trying to pair you off with, right? When you do see so many amazing qualities about them and you're unable to articulate, or even it could just come down to like attractiveness. And sometimes it's hard to say like, yeah, I don't find this person attractive, especially if it's someone like in the friend group, or it's not even like that they're not an attractive person either. It's just like the pull. Like, I'm not feeling the feelings I need in order to pursue this. That can be hard, but when you're honest about it, it makes it so much easier to navigate those relationships, because it doesn't get crazy with you having kissed people and you having, you know, whatever, like trying to figure it out, when in reality you basically knew from the very beginning that it wasn't going to go anywhere. So you save yourself some mental space, emotional space, by just being honest with yourself and trusting your gut. Trust the feelings that you have, because they're not lying to you. Like, they're there for a reason. Number 9 is, if he wants you, he will tell you. Just let that sink in. If he wants you, he will tell you. If he's not telling you, he doesn't want you. It sucks, but it's true. It's so true, because when a man wants a woman, he's gonna tell her that he wants her. And if he's not telling you, he's either a boy who doesn't know what he wants and therefore doesn't know if he wants you and can't make up his mind, and you don't deserve to be put in the situation where someone can't make up their mind about you, or he's a man and he doesn't want you, and so he's not telling you, and he's not showing interest, and you're questioning all of these things. You're so worried and stressed out because he's not being clear with you and whatever, when in reality there's so much clarity there, because the answer is that you're confused. The answer is that he's not telling you how he feels. The answer is right there in front of your face, and it's that he doesn't want you, and if he did want you, he would be direct and clear with you about it. And this is something that I have learned to appreciate about men who know what they want. And I'm somebody who's looking for a man who knows what he wants, okay? And I want him to know he wants me. And if he doesn't, I'm not wasting my time, you know? Like, I am not about to put in all this emotional effort and go on all these dates and spend all this time on somebody who doesn't know if he wants me. And obviously you've got to like put some time in when you're first like going on dates with people and whatever. But when I start to like someone, if it's unclear, you get the answer and you move forward no matter what it is. And yeah, that's one I had to learn the hard way. Honestly, my dad helped me figure that one out for sure. He's like, a man will tell you if he wants you. The next section is the feeling, and these are some lessons, some feelings kind of associated with being in love. Number 10 is there's no safer place than the arms of a person who loves you. And I truly didn't experience this until I was in a relationship, but oh my gosh, there's like no better feeling in the whole world than just being like wrapped up in the arms of somebody who sees you and knows you and loves you. Like that is something that you really can't feel on your own. And there's a safety and a love. And it's really only in the context of a romantic relationship. Like that doesn't really work for like friendships or, you know, like, I mean, sure, it's like giving a hug but like you wouldn't really be like wrapped up in the arms of your best friend. Who knows, with me, I love cuddling, so it could happen, but my friends are the most touchy people. So, we're not doing that on the, you know, weekly girl hangout, but that is a feeling and an emotion and a place that is very special and that I'm excited to feel again. Number 11 is kind of Insta poetry vibes, but I love it because I think it's so true. You can see it in their eyes. You can see when they're in love with you. And it's like the best thing when you can see in their eyes when they look at you that they love you. And then also in like the opposite way, like you can see it in their eyes when it's over. Like I've experienced that too, where I'm looking in his eyes and I just know that it's done, you know? I know that like that's the end. And I just think there's really something, I mean, there's a reason the eyes are called the windows to the soul, right? The windows to the heart, just to see inside of somebody. And I love good eye contact too. I love good eye contact. Sometimes I do it with random people or like sometimes I'm too good at eye contact. Like I'm like, okay, Riley, maybe you should blink and look away. It's like it turns into like a staring contest with certain people. It's like, oh, now I'm a little uncomfortable. All right, next section, the letting go. This is my most recent lessons, I'd say, because I feel like a lot of these relate to breakups, which I went through at the beginning of this year, end of last year, beginning of this year. So I titled this section, The Letting Go. Number 12, sometimes the best way to show them you love them is to let them go. This one was hard for me, but it was an active decision that I made during my breakup that I could have made it a lot harder than I did. I could have made it a lot more dramatic on my end than I did. And it was a decision that I actively made because I loved my ex-boyfriend. I decided that I was going to make it as simple as I could for us to both move forward. As painful as that decision was, I know it was the right one. And that was the best thing that I could have done, was to show him my love through respecting what the situation had come to and how we were both choosing to move forward, even though it was hard. The next one says, people can love you and still decide to leave. That was really hard for me. That was a really, really hard lesson for me to learn, because you want to be like, well, you say you love me, you say you want me, but you're not choosing me, you know? And I I think it was hard for me because it's like, how do I not negate everything that you've said? How do I reconcile what I know we both felt with how this is ending? And I just, it's just, I don't really know what else to say about this one. It was just a hard lesson to learn, is that people can love you and still leave. And it sucks. It sucks. And sometimes that's how it's supposed to go. Doesn't make it any easier. The next one is don't have hope unless they give you a reason to. So this is a huge shift from the experience with the first person who I was really delusional about to my ex-boyfriend when we broke up. Because I had all of those experiences where I had years of my life where I was delusional about somebody wanting me, or somebody that was he's going to choose me, he's going to want to be with me, XYZ. Literally didn't know this person, but whatever. Riley, okay. So I had all these ideas about how things were going to work out, and it wasn't based on anything, but I was like, yeah, this is going to happen. And I feel like it would have been easy for me after my breakup to be like, to just hold on, right? To hold on and to tell myself, like, he's going to choose me eventually. Like, he's going to pick me eventually. Choose me, love me. Yeah, so it would have been really easy for me to do that. But I made the active decision not to. I made the active decision to not have hope unless he outright told me to have hope, you know? And he didn't. And we literally have not spoken at all, zero contact since our last phone call. And I'm really grateful that I took that approach, because it freed me from the outset in a way that I never felt free when I had these delusional, feelings towards this other person who didn't reciprocate. It was so interesting, because when I was delusional about having feelings for this, or when I had feelings but was delusional about this other guy, right? It's like, there's not really a reason to be. Like, he didn't really, there's really not that much of a reason to be. But then with this person I actually fell in love with, this person that I actually loved and spent months of my life building a relationship with, it was much easier for me to honestly move forward from that than it even was for the delusional relationship, or not even relationship, delusional circumstance, because I had learned how it feels to keep yourself stuck and to hold on to something that isn't meant to be. And so I gave up. I gave up all the dreams. I didn't picture anything else with this person. And I told myself if I want this to continue, I will have hope, but only if it's given. And it never was. And so I never had it. And I've been able to move forward. And that's been something that's given me strength, even though the relationship ended. Number 15 is sometimes the people we love show us what love is not. Sometimes the people we love show us what love is not. I'm just going to leave that one there. I don't really have that much to say about it, but I do think it's true. Oh my gosh, this one is I'm so passionate about this one. When you part with them, the version of them you love no longer exists. Okay, I'm going to get into a little bit of the nitty gritty of after my breakup. So, right, no contact, because why would you stay in contact with, you should not do that. But zero contact, but it's your best friend, right? You're breaking up, you're cutting off contact with someone who's your best friend. And so I was like, okay, how can I still give myself an outlet to share what I would like to share with my ex-boyfriend without actually talking to him. And so what I would do is I have this Notion page where I would write out like text messages. Like if we were still together, this is the text message that I would send him. This is what I would say. This is what I would tell him about work and like friends and things that are happening. And I distinctly remember one night I was typing out a text message. And again, it's just typing it in my notes basically. Like this was not going to be sent to him ever. But I'm typing it out, and then then just like the feeling came to me where it was like, the person that you're like writing this to doesn't exist anymore. Like this person that you once knew doesn't exist in the same way that he did. You know, he's not the person that you fell in love with necessarily anymore. Like he's grown, he's changed, he's evolved in positive or negative ways, whatever it may be. You don't even know, but he's not the same person. And so that was like such a freeing thought to me, because it's like, yeah, you know, I've changed too. I've grown too. I've evolved as well. And I fell in love with a version of this person, and I loved that version, but that version doesn't exist. And so it sets me free to move forward more than I felt like I could when I was holding on to it. Like he's still out there the same way that he was when I was in love with, like, the person that I love is still out there doing things. It's like, no, he's a different person now. When I think about myself a year ago, 8 months ago, 9 months ago, we're different people in a lot of ways. Like, I have changed drastically in the last 9 months, I'd say. Just I've learned and grown so much, and like, I'm a different version of myself, and it just allowed me to move forward. Just another thing I experienced in this process of like a breakup that helped me heal and move on. So highly recommend doing that if you're going through a breakup. It really helped me. Well, even just the text messages, like writing those in your notes, really helps me. And then just recognizing that they don't exist anymore and you're free. Oh, man. Okay, number 17 is you're allowed to change your mind about what you want. And this was really, really hard for me. And even after my breakup, this was a really hard lesson for me. So part of the reason that my ex-boyfriend and I broke up has to do with like social media and what I do for work. And it was really hard for me because in the outset of our relationship, that was something that he was actually like really supportive of and really excited about, and like wanted to be involved in and wanted to learn even. And it was hard for me to reconcile the fact that he had said all these things about wanting to be involved and supporting me and like loving that I make videos, right? And that I create. And then having that be one of the things that ended our relationship. It just felt so, I'm like, I wanted to point and be like, but you said this, you know? But you said this. Why are you going back on that? Like, I thought that you felt this way about it. That's what you said, you know? And it's not that he didn't mean those things when he said it. It's just that experiences and things that happened during the course of our relationship, just, he changed his mind. He changed his mind about what he wanted. And that was hard for me. It was hard for me because it's and hard for me to accept, and hard for me to realize that is okay. And he's allowed to do that. And he's allowed to change his mind about what and who he wants. And if I no longer aligned, and the things that I do in my work and whatever doesn't align with what he wants, he's allowed to change his mind. And I need to respect that decision, even because there are gonna be things that I change my mind about, that I would hope that people would respect. And as we grow and learn, like, we just need to give each other the grace to figure out our perspectives on things, and just respect people's decisions if they change their minds. And he never did it in a way that was like, I never felt like he lied to me. Like, I'm so grateful. I can't look at my ex-boyfriend and be like, he's such a liar. He made all these promises to me and didn't keep any of them. Like, he didn't do that. And that just makes me respect him. And, in that area, for being honest and everything. But yeah, it just helps me now think about, like, when it comes to my future dating strategy, like, how will communicating my needs to have a partner who is very supportive of what I do for work, like extremely supportive, how do I communicate that and learn from my past experiences and apply that in a way that it's very clear, from the outset, where everybody lies on that line and on that spectrum of things that are important, right, to each person. Yeah. Oh, man. Okay. Number 18, it's another quote. It says, "There is power in ending. It takes you to the beginning of what was meant for you." And I truly believe that. And even though I'm not living that right now, like, I'm not in a relationship. I think I've gone on like 2 dates this whole year, and I've actively, like, not put myself in positions to be approached or to go out with people. Like, I've really been focusing on my work right now, but I know that the end of my past relationship is getting me closer to the person I'll eventually end up with and my future husband, right? And that future partner. And I'm grateful for that. And there's gratitude there for the things that I learned and who I became through those experiences. And just, yeah, there's just power. There's that power in ending, even though it's hard, that gets you that much closer to what's actually meant for you and for your life. This might be one of my favorites of the whole list. Number 19, healing means getting to a place where you're okay with remembering. This takes time, but I think it's really important. Not only just remembering, but for me, it also means being able to talk about it, and talk about it from a place of, like, having processed and worked through and understand how the things in my past relationship affected me and what I learned from them, and being able to articulate and communicate that, because I am not somebody who will not talk about my exes. Like, I am going to be talking about all of my past relationship experiences with my significant other. Like, that is something about my ex-boyfriend, Loki, that was kind of, like, frustrating to me, is, like, he really did not like when I would talk about, like, other experiences I had. And I think I've just come to understand myself and the importance that it is for me to be able to talk about the experiences that led me from who I was to who I am, and not allowing those conversations to take place, or those people to be brought up, or whatever it may be, those experiences, having it be, like, a bad thing to, like, talk about is just unacceptable for me. And I need to be with somebody who's confident and secure enough in themselves to know that me talking about the experiences that made me who I am, including past relationships with other people, like, I need them to be secure and confident enough in themselves and in my love for them to be able to have good conversations. And I know not everybody feels this way, and that's totally fine. But like, I want to hear about all their ex-girlfriends too, all of their romantic relationships too. I want to know, like, where did you learn those lessons about love? Who taught you that? Like, I want to be open and secure enough in myself for us to be able to have those conversations. And that's part of healing, is being able to be okay with remembering, and then also being okay to communicate what you learned and what you need based off of that healing process and that understanding process. And that's something that I look for, and I will look for, I guess, when I start dating again, is somebody who has that confidence and who is willing to have those open conversations and not let it like make them jealous. Or because in a way it's like, okay, like you like me a lot, and so me talking about this is like making you jealous or whatever. I just don't like that. I'm like, get over it. Like, it's not, I don't know. I think I grew up with a dad who talked a lot about past relationships and was able to teach us so many important lessons, like me and my siblings, so many important lessons about love and relationships, because like talking about past experiences was something that was very common in our home. And so I think it ties back into that too, is that like, that's how I was raised. That's how I was raised to talk about romantic relationships, and taking that away from me and making me feel bad for wanting to talk about that is like, I don't like that. And I don't want to be with someone who makes me feel that way. Because in a way I feel like it's silencing like a part of me. And who knows, maybe my perspectives will change when I get into a relationship, but I don't know. I feel like I know myself well enough to know that I want my significant other to know everything. And and how is he going to know everything if I don't tell him? So he better just buckle up, because when he picks me, he's just going to know everything about me. And that's exactly how I want it to be. And I would love it to be the same way reciprocated. So we've just got to be confident in our love and in ourselves and all that. So, but yeah, healing means getting to a place where you're okay with remembering. All right, I think I have a bonus one in here actually. So it might be 21 things. The last section, I have it titled The Hope. Number 20 says, choosing to love someone for a lifetime is to say, I can only become who I'm meant to be with you by my side. You make me better. You inspire me to become. And I've thought a lot about the decision to get married to somebody and how you feel confident. Like, how can anybody feel confident in making the decision to like sign up for life with someone and beyond, you know? Like, how do you have the confidence to be like, yup, I want you for eternity? And through a lot of reflection and conversation and thinking about this is what I've come to, that making that decision comes when you recognize that this person, without them, you will not become who you're supposed to be in this life. And with them, you will. And it's as simple as that in my mind. And I haven't felt that way. Like, I haven't met somebody who's made me feel that way to that extent, or maybe I just hadn't figured that out in my mind in that way to be able to think about it when I even was in a relationship. Because I did feel like the guy that I dated had the potential. He had so many qualities that I looked for in a future spouse. But yeah, I don't know. After my relationship, I really dug into like, okay, what would it take? Because I never felt 100% sure that we would end up together. And I'm like, how can I be when I do meet the person? And I think that's the answer. I think it's that I need to feel and to know and receive confirmation from myself and from God that this person is going to help me reach my potential in this life. Because you can only get to a certain level on your own. Like, we can become the people we're supposed to be to a certain level on our own, but then it takes someone else to get you there, fully. That's what I believe. And so that's what I'm looking for in a significant other, is for that feeling and that knowledge. And that's when I'm going to be able to make the decision to get married, is when I feel that way. And then the last one is just to trust the timing of your life. This is really hard. It's a short little line, but it's packs a punch, and it's not easy to put into practice. I am in the best place with this that I've ever been in my life, but I've gone through years of worrying and feeling like my life is just not going the way that it is supposed to go. And honestly, one thing that really, truly blessed my life about my past relationship is just learning to trust God and to trust the timing of my life and that things happen when they're supposed to. And as much as we want them to go certain ways at certain times, if we are willing to wait and we're willing to do what we need to do to become the people we need to be on our own, things are just going to work out. And you never know the reason either. You never know why things have to be the way that they are until you can see years down the road and be like, oh, that's why it needed to be that way. And so I've just learned to trust my Heavenly Father, trust God, that He loves me and that He knows me and He wants the best for me. And He wants me to find that person that's going to help me become who I need to be. And I trust Him with that. I know that He loves me and He wants for me, like, He's going to take into consideration the things that are important to me. And He's going to help me find someone who fulfills those things. And because He wants me to have joy and He knows the things that are going to help me find that. And so this is something that everybody has to learn on their own, to trust the timing of your life. But that's a little bit about my experience and some things that I've learned about that. But yeah, guys, those are some lessons on love. I really hope you hopefully learn something. And it's always therapeutic for me to talk about relationship things. And I'm in this process right now of really trying to work on myself to get to a place where I'm ready to start dating again. I'm grateful that I've given myself the time and the space after my relationship ended to do what I need to do to move forward, and also to focus on building my life versus trying to find someone. I think that's a big shift that I've made this year and over the last couple of years too, is just recognizing that, yes, it's important to find someone. To me, it's important to me to find someone, but it's also important for me to find fulfillment and joy in the life that I'm living right now, and not just look at it as grass is greener on the other side, but to be like, I can find joy now. I can find happiness and fulfillment in my life, even though I'm not in a relationship, even though I don't have a family yet, even though all of these things, like, there are other things in my life that I need to accomplish and that I want to accomplish. And there are other things that give me purpose too. And so focusing on those and building those up and getting those to a place where they can be a blessing to my life. And then also just from there to, trust God and to trust His timing and trust myself to know when I'm not ready. I've been trusting myself to know that I haven't been ready to give anybody a chance, no matter who they are, over the last 9 months. Like, I've not been in the mental space to open myself up for that heartbreak or for that love. But I'm finally getting to this place where I'm open to the idea of it. And there's still more work I need to do, I think, but I'm going to be making an active effort to figure out how I want to go about dating and be thinking about that and preparing for that, so that when I feel not fully ready, because I don't think I'll ever feel fully ready, I think I'll just have to take action. But when I get to a place where I'm like, okay, I'm still scared, I'm still all these things, I can still have all these reservations, but I feel that it's time, and so I'm gonna do it. And that's what I'm working towards right now, and I'm grateful for all of these lessons and the many years and experiences I had that helped me learn them. And I'm so grateful for all of the people, holy crap, all of the people who I've had conversations with that helped me come to these realizations and that helped me learn these lessons and work through these things and process. I have so many wonderful friends that span years and times of my life that have helped me work through things, and I'm so grateful for each of you. I don't know if you're listening to this, but if you are, you know who you are. I love you. Thank you so much. And I'm excited for what I'll continue to learn about love. I hope you guys learned something from this episode, whether it be lessons you needed to hear or maybe situations that I'm describing from my past that you resonate with or that you can see yourself in. I hope that this advice can help you in dating and in love and just in life too. I'm excited for the lessons I'm going to keep learning in love because I have a whole lifetime to keep learning them, and I have a lot to learn still, and I'm excited to learn those lessons, and I'm grateful for everything that I've experienced that has led me to the person I am today, because without learning all these lessons, I wouldn't be who I am, honestly. And so I'm grateful, despite how hard some of them were to learn. I know that I needed to, and I hope that I can use that pain and those experiences for good to help you. And I would love to do an advice episode. Like, if you guys want to follow the Instagram, Notes on Becoming Pod on Instagram. I'm also at Riley Rehl on Instagram. If you follow me over there, I would love to do some advice podcasts where you guys submit dating questions, just relationship advice in general. I really want to hear from you and to be able to speak on your specific situations. So go follow the Instagram, because that's where I'll be posting probably like a Google form that you can like put your story into or your whatever situation that you need advice on. So I'm really excited because I want this to be a good conversation. Also, if you're interested in watching these podcast episodes, all of them are uploaded on YouTube on the Notes on Becoming podcast YouTube channel. It used to be my old vlog channel, but I switched the name over. So yeah, I'm not sure if that's really relevant anymore because it has the podcast name on it now. But that is the podcast channel if you want to watch them and see me as I'm talking to you guys. So yes, I think that's everything. Also, rate the podcast if you enjoy it. Please leave it a rating. It really helps people know that this is a podcast that could benefit them and that you enjoy and that's worth their time. So I'd really appreciate that. And I love you guys. Thank you for spending this time with me. It's been so fun to reflect on the things I've learned about love. And I'm excited to take you along on all of my dating adventures and keep you posted on all of that and all the lessons I learned moving forward. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast episode, and I will talk to you in the next one. Bye, guys.